Hey, it's Jeff. Welcome back. Today we're going to start a new series where I guess the idea is to catalog all of the patterns that can be found in Puzzle Rush. And just because part of being able to do a lot of low-rated puzzles quickly is because they're all the same small set of patterns that just repeat itself over and over. So this series should be helpful for people that want to improve their Puzzle Rush and just anyone else that's interested in learning all the patterns. So far, I just have a collection of about 20, a little bit over 20 Arabian mates. So that'll be the first pattern. And also, I have this screenshot. So, idea is in future videos and series, this page will fill up a lot. And I'll actually leave a link to this doc in the description so people will always be able to reference it. And so yeah, so even just like as a warm up, just looking at this diagram and quickly spotting the mate and then scrolling down or clicking the tabs might be helpful in the future. At least this is what I'm going to be using to make sure I keep up with all the patterns. And also you can see like these different rating ranges. They'll fluctuate. So this is just the rating that I saw them at, like the floor of that rating. And I just add some comments. So, so yeah, it's kind of like making a book, but out of the big puzzle database and just adding commentary to a lot of the common patterns. So let's start with this first one here. And basically, the idea of the Arabian mate is this knight that's guarding these squares, and a rook, or it could be a queen, that's just going to give a check. And either it's going to check that way or that way. Like both of those would be mate. Like if this rook wasn't on the board, then either rook g1 or rook h2 would be checkmate. But with the rook here, they leave us this square to give the checkmate. So this is like the pattern that you want to burn into your brain, and it'll make solving all the other Arabian mates like just effortless. So let's try this other one. So here we go. This time the rook was pretty much a similar thing. We can't go here. Before there was like a rook here and something, so you actually had the choice here. The only way to do the Arabian mate is to give this check. This check would just fail to that, and it wouldn't even be an Arabian mate. It would be almost a hook mate in some situations, but not quite. So that's just another one, just like that. Here's another one, pretty much the same deal. So if you spot this one pretty quickly, so just like the other ones, this one's like rated 800. You see like you could get some that are 100, some that are 800. And some of the ones that are higher rated do deserve the higher rating, but it's just all kind of random, especially when you see it's the same pattern. So here it was just on the other side of the board, exact same thing. Where it's like if the rook was here and they didn't have a rook on a8, you would have the choice of giving those two checkmates, but with this is very simple. You're just looking for that. So here's the 100. So this is a checkmate. Whether the pawn was here or not, it'd be checkmate just because it'd be nice guarding it. Here's a 1100. I don't know exactly why this one's 1100. Are there comments on this one? No. They might have been scared of the pawn, trying to go back, or trying to give this check. But it's just an Arabian mate, just like all the others. So it's kind of weird seeing that jump in rating. There's like the first mate in 2. And so here we give this check. I notice we set up the exact same pattern, so now Arabian mate, just like that. Same thing, just knight check, exact same Arabian mate. So like when you're solving like a lot of puzzles in Puzzle Rush, it can just feel like you're just doing a whole lot of the same puzzle over and over again. But these are like I checked to make sure that these are all unique IDs. Here's one that's slightly different because they're gonna kind of sacrificing a piece, but then you're taking back with the Arabian mate. And there's another one that's like that. So I did order these so that it would have some logical progression. Okay, so there's a newer type of pattern for the Arabian mate. So you go here and you're setting up the Arabian mate, so they can't do anything. They can try to do some spite moves to try to trick you, but you just have to be ready to recapture if they did something like that. You're setting up the threat of the Arabian mate, And the first time you see this one, it's kind of hard to believe, like, because this is a weird move to kind of find. But they actually, and this is why, this one actually deserves to be like closer to 1,000 rather than 100. I believe there's another one that's similar for this, that's 1,200. So yeah, so a lot of people, they're probably taking this knight or not sure what to do. But if you're familiar with the Arabian mate, you just go here and you know they have a hard time defending that. So they just give a spite check, move out the way, they block, you just take. I'm guessing another thing people are doing is they're giving this check here, but it doesn't quite work. So yeah, this is just simple. And no matter where the knight goes, they're just going to fall into that. So here's a 100 rated mate in 2. So again, just here you have another rook that turns into Arabian mate. Here's another one where you're giving a check and then can't get out of it. Another one where you kind of sacrifice a piece. And another one where you kind of set up the mate. So, and here's like that situation where it's like if you're trying to pre-move or something, you might do this and then they take. So that's like a good bullet trick to know what they just did. We just take and then they still can't stop it. Here's another one where you're just setting it up. So basically, if you just notice from that diagonal, you're just putting the knight on that square, and then the rook, if it gets to here or here without any of their other pieces attacking it, then you can get checkmate. So here's a one you don't want to just trade. You can go here, and now you get the Arabian mate that way. Alright, so this is one of the, actually no, it's not one of the harder ones. Well, it is kind of in a way. But I would give this check, and then queen sack. And after they take, now you got the Arabian mate. So yeah, it was a hard one, but it's not like the hardest version of the Arabian mates that I found so far. Okay, so here we can give this check because it's protected by the bishop. And then we give another check, and now we got the Arabian mate. They could also, actually let me just get this wrong, go to analysis board. They could also go here, but then you'd have this check, which might not be Arabian mate, but that's okay. Because in general, like, higher level tactics, they'll eventually blend a lot of different themes. So, but knowing these like fundamentals will help out a lot. Okay, so this one, if we give this check and they move out the way, this would be a checkmate. Not an Arabian mate, but that's kind of how you would solve this one. You wouldn't really solve this one having the Arabian mate in mind. But look, they didn't take and allow you this, they went here. So now it does turn into one of those typical Arabian mate situations where you can just give up the queen. It didn't do that. Okay, so here's another one that Arabian mate is featured, but it's not really played on the board, I don't think. If you take this knight, so just looking at all checks, captures, and threats, that's generally what you want to do when you're solving tactics. If they take, you have this. So if you're really familiar with the Arabian mate, this sacrifice of the queen would make a lot of sense, and it would be something that you don't just shrug off because it doesn't do anything, because you actually see that if this pawn was gone, you'd have this. So that's why you want to look at calculate to see if it works. So they don't take it because they know you would get checkmated, and so you have to move out the way. You can't take because they have a bishop there, you move out the way, and now they give up their queen. But the Arabian mate was the main way that you see that this is fine is because you see the Arabian mate that follows, even if it's not played on the board. And that's why that one's rated 1400. Now this one I just encountered today. And I'm glad I found this one before making the video on this pattern. There's a lot going on this one. Like the first move that I kind of consider is this, because like other things are just losing material for no reason. You don't want to just give up the queen, I don't think. So you give this check, and so they make some things easier for you. So you're going to give this check, and now can't really do anything because they take, can't take that. you can give this with the idea of going here, which is kind of like an Arabian mate. And also if they take with the bishop, then you have this check, which is a different mate because you're just guarding everything like that. So we go here with this threat, and then they give a check, move out the way, because if you take, they get this and then checkmate, so move out the way. And now here we see like a clear Arabian mate situation, but with the queen instead. So you can't go here because of the rook, but you can go up here. So this one's 1500. And the comments do say that this one is underrated, so they don't like the 1560 here. And this was actually like last year, so it's weird how these ratings, sometimes they change and sometimes they don't. Like it could be like 2 years and this will still be 1560, so it's kind of weird. And that was all. So, and I put yes for covered in video because I planned to cover all of these, and I did. And so, hope you enjoyed. And if you weren't that confident in the Arabian mates before, hopefully you can find at least these lower rated ones like in seconds in the future. And also, over time, this will fill up and we'll cover more patterns. And then we can all get the Puzzle Rush world record. Yeah, I think that's how that works. All right, see you in the next one.